What's going on, everyone? It's the Fantasy Football Almanac, back at it with another fantasy football video. Today we are going to be going through the lessons learned from week 2 of NFL football. Every single game. The first half of the game's coming out today, the second half coming out tomorrow. Before we get into it though, if you guys could, please go down, leave a like on this video, leave a comment, let me know what you think of these week 2 NFL games, and subscribe to the channel if you do enjoy. You can always change your mind later. Let's not waste any more of your time though. Let's hop right in, starting with the Chiefs-Chargers. So first, talking about the Chiefs-Chargers, well, it was not the shootout that most of us, I think, expected it to be. It still turned out to be a pretty fun game to watch, but let's get into the lessons learned really quickly. First and foremost, I don't think it's possible to trust any of these Chiefs wide receivers. Justin Watson was the leading receiver here with 2 receptions, 2 targets, 50 yards, and a touchdown. It's clear that they do not have a focal point in the offense here, whether that be through Juju, whether that be through MVS. None of these guys are really trusted to be that dude in the offense. The only person I think that you could start as a part of the receiving core on a week-to-week basis is Travis Kelce here. And then on the Chargers side, there are 2 lessons to be learned here. One is that Mike Williams is a very, very boomer-bust player. We did already know this from last year, but seeing him go from 4 points to 21, I mean, it's just night and day with him. You're either starting him expecting 20 or 0. There's no in-between here. And my second lesson is that Gerald Everett might actually be a week-to-week starter here. Getting 10 targets is a lot, especially from a guy like Justin Herbert, and he would have had a touchdown had it not been for the fact that he was absolutely gassed. They wanted to keep him on the field. He was saying, take me out, and they threw it to him. He was just too tired, and it resulted in a pick 6 that completely ended the game. The only other thing I want to talk about is the fact that Justin Herbert is an absolute baller. I mean, this guy came in with broken rib cartilage or fractured rib cartilage. He is day-to-day now, but he looked to be in immense pain. On that 3rd and 2, I thought they should have just taken him out of the game right there. It looked so bad. I mean, instead of just going for the first down, he ran out of bounds, even though the grass was there for him to get the first down. And then on 4th down, he throws an absolute dime in the breadbasket to DeAndre Carter. There's only a few quarterbacks in the entire league that can make a throw like that, and Herbert did it, so Herbert is an absolute baller, absolute stud. Let's move on to our next matchup, though. The next matchup I want to talk about here is the Dolphins versus the Ravens. Oh my god, this game was insane. Probably the game of the week, probably the game of the year so far. It was absolutely crazy. Yes, the Dolphins were down 28-7, but the final score ended up being 42-38. The Dolphins mounted one of the craziest comebacks we've ever seen, and it was on the helm of Tua Tagovailoa, 6 touchdowns, 469 yards, 36 completions. That is just absolutely insane. So my 2 lessons from the Dolphins side are that first lesson is that Tua can absolutely ball here, even though he does not have the rushing upside that maybe some of these other quarterbacks do. 6 touchdowns. It's just absolutely insane. Even if he starts having 2 or 3 touchdowns a week, that is not bad as a quarterback 2 in a 2-quarterback league. And 2, Jaylen Waddle and Tyreek Hill. Oh my god. Wow. They looked absolutely insane. Jaylen Waddle getting 19 targets, 11 receptions for 171 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's absolutely incredible. And then Tyreek Hill, 11 receptions on 13 targets. So he was very efficient for 190 yards and 2 touchdowns. I mean, if you see a receiver have 170 yards and 2 touchdowns, you say, okay, that was most likely the best receiver of the game. Most likely, I mean, he just has to be. But no, Tyreek Hill somehow one-ups Jaylen Waddle in what might go down as the best Dolphins game in years. It was absolutely insane to watch. But now bringing it over to the Ravens side, Lamar Jackson, 1, he is an absolute baller, dropping 42 fantasy points. But 2, you cannot trust any of these Ravens running backs, at least until J.K. Dobbins comes back. Once J.K. Dobbins comes back, I think it is possible to start to trust him maybe, but I would like to see how they decide to bring him back from the ACL. Right now it is still a split backfield, pretty much everything even, with no running backs getting more than 6 carries. I mean, it's just absolutely horrible. I would not start any of these guys here, but that is it for my lessons from this game. The next game I want to talk about is the Jets-Browns game, and this game was absolutely wild as well. I mean, how the heck did the Jets come back? I saw multiple tweets saying that this game was completely over with 2 minutes left, and in all fairness, it definitely should have been. The Jets mounted one of the craziest comebacks that I've seen from the Jets in a very, very long time here. But let's get into some of the lessons learned. For one, this does project to be a 50-50 committee here between Breece Hall and Michael Carter. I think that as the season progresses, Breece Hall will be more and more heavily utilized. But at the same time, we can't know that for sure as of now. So if that's the case, I really don't want to start either of them until one of them gets a more clear role. Because this Jets offense, even though they did win today, it still does not project to be a great offense, and that is my primary concern. I don't want 50-50 touches in a backfield that's going to be split. And then we got the Browns over here. My only lesson from the Browns is the fact that Kareem Hunt should be getting 15 touches a game. I mean, 15 touches last game, 15 touches this game. He is going to be getting 15 touches a game. And if you're getting 15 touches a game behind one of the best offensive lines in the entire league, I am absolutely fine with that. I am fine with starting Kareem Hunt as a flex week to week. The next game I want to talk about is the Commanders versus the Lions. What the heck was this game? Carson Wentz going out there dropping 27 points yet again. I mean, that just doesn't make any sense to me. So that's my first lesson. Carson Wentz looks to be possibly a fantasy viable starter week to week. I mean, he was on my waiver wire pickups, but I mean, dropping 27 points yet again, you have to at least start to trust him. And also, Curtis Samuel absolutely balled. Jahan Dotson balled. Terry McLaurin balled. All these guys having double-digit fantasy points, with Curtis Samuel having 19.5 PPR scoring. I think the Commanders have a surprisingly good offense, at least for fantasy purposes. And if you have that, that's absolutely fine by me. I think you can start pretty much any of these guys, at least in flex. And Carson Wentz is a good QB2 now in quarterback 2 leagues, or in 2 quarterback leagues. And then my lesson from the Lions, it is very, very simple. Amon Ra. Oh my God. This man is different. This man is absolutely different. Coming out, getting 12 targets, getting 2 carries for 68 yards, leading the Lions in rushing. I mean, oh my God. And 2 touchdowns. Amon-Ra St. Brown is looking like the steal of the century. Best ball league winner, fantasy football league winner. If you don't have Amon-Ra St. Brown, I feel a bit sorry for you. I am a little jealous of every single Amon-Ra St. Brown owner in the league that they are in. Alright, so the next game we're going to be talking about was probably the ugliest game of the week. It was the Colts Jaguars. I mean, what the heck was that? Colts getting shut out by that Jacksonville Jaguars. Matt Ryan throwing 3 interceptions. Jonathan Taylor didn't even look good. My lesson from this game is simple. People were saying Matt Ryan was a massive upgrade over Carson Wentz. That is not the case. Not the case at all. Now that the Colts still don't have a win, and they played the Texans and the Jaguars. I mean, if you're a Colts fan, I feel terrible for you. This season is starting out awful. And also, the only wide receiver you can trust in this offense has to be Michael Pittman. I mean, nobody else looked even decent. Paris Campbell should have played well without Michael Pittman. He did not. Ashton Doolin was the leading receiver with 10 fantasy points. It was pretty embarrassing. And then my other takeaway from this game is, I hate to say it, James Robinson. I like Travis Etienne this season, and I was a little scared of James Robinson. But here we see James Robinson getting 23 carries. Go roast me down below in the comments. I put out a video recently on my top 30 running back rankings, and in that video I had James Robinson and Travis Etienne 1 spot apart. You cannot have that anymore. James Robinson getting 23 carries. It wasn't even close. He also dominated the snap share, getting 63% of total snaps here, whereas Travis Etienne only got 37% of snaps. So, in all honesty, James Robinson over Travis Etienne now seems pretty obvious to me. I think James Robinson will be soaring up boards here. But that is my lessons from the Colts-Jaguars game. Now, let's move on to our next game. So for the Bucs Saints, I had two main takeaways. From the Bucs perspective, my main concern is Tom Brady. This is Tom Brady's second game putting up under 11 fantasy points, which is pretty concerning considering he is 45 years old. Yes, I understand he is the greatest of all time. It's Tom Brady. He has more Super Bowls than any other team. But Tom Brady is 45. He is human. He is mortal. Now, I'm not saying Tom Brady is going to absolutely fall off a cliff here. I'm not saying it's over for Tom Brady by any means. But this could be a sign that age may be starting to catch up with him just a little bit. And if that's the case, I would be a little bit concerned about Tom Brady, especially considering he does not offer a rushing floor in fantasy football. I would probably look to pivot off of Tom Brady here. I mean, he will 100% have boom weeks. It's Tom Brady. But at the end of the day, I am a little bit concerned with his overall age and the fact this offensive line got a lot worse, which made the whole team look worse. Now, yes, I will say he was playing without most of his wide receivers here, and Mike Evans got ejected for shoving some dude down to the ground. But at the same time, I think it is still a little bit concerning for Tom Brady. Now, let's move on to the Saints. My lesson from the Saints is simple. Chris Olave getting 13 targets, well, yes, his fantasy performance wasn't all that great. They want Chris Olave to be a focal point of this offense. First of all, the Saints go up and they trade tons of capital just to go up and get Chris Olave. Everyone was saying this has to be a quarterback move. This has to be a quarterback move because of just how much they traded up to get Chris Olave. I mean, I was shocked on draft night when it was Chris Olave. And, well, yes, he only had 5 receptions. He did have 13 targets. And what we are chasing, again, is volume. He paced the whole team in targets in his second career game. I love Chris Olave, and he's a guy you can probably buy low on because he hasn't really had too much fantasy success. Most of the time, people are not looking at overall volume. They're looking at fantasy production that the players put up. So I would absolutely go out there, target Olave in all your leagues. But now let's move on to our next game. The next game I want to talk about is not a game I want to spend too much time on. It was pretty ugly, but as a Giants fan, I am pretty happy. The main takeaway I have from the Panthers-Giants game is the fact that the only players you can trust on a week-to-week basis in these offenses are the running backs. Christian McCaffrey and Saquon Barkley are the only two you could trust, and they didn't even really play all that well. Saquon Barkley with 10 points, and Christian McCaffrey with 15. I mean, these are both below average performances for running backs we know can absolutely pop off and give you 30, 35 points in a single game. But other than that, I mean, we see Baker Mayfield drop 13, Daniel Jones drop 13. No receiver had over 12 half-point PPR points in the game. That's just pretty sad. I mean, the highest scoring player from both sides of this affair was Graham Gano with 17 points. I would be concerned to start anyone from either of these offenses unless you are starting CMC or you are starting Saquon Barkley. But now let's move on to our last game here in the Patriots versus the Steelers. Patriots versus the Steelers was honestly pretty sad, and the reason why is because this game used to be so exciting. I mean, everyone would get ready. Oh, it's Patriots versus the Steelers. We got Ben Roethlisberger versus Tom Brady. This game is going to be amazing. Now it's Mitch Trubisky versus Mac Jones. It is not the same. And it showed with Mac Jones dropping 12 points, with Mitch Trubisky dropping 11. Final score 17-14. The only takeaways I have on the Patriots side are the fact that, yes, this is going to be a split backfield. One running back may dominate on a given week, but this is going to be very, very, very frustrating on a week-to-week basis for fantasy managers who own Ramondre or Damien Harris. And two, if you need a floor play, Jakobi Meyers is that guy. I mean, this is a player who had 13 targets, and if you're getting somewhat close to that on any given week, you can absolutely start him, at least hoping he gets a touchdown. Yes, I know he's not going to be having a crazy amount of yards, but at the same time, Jakobi Meyers did surprisingly have 126 targets last season. And that was his first season with Mac Jones. If that does go up or stay the same, you are going to be happy with that as a bench role. I wouldn't want to start him, but as your wide receiver 3, your wide receiver 4, I think he is fine. So I would go out and pick him up, putting out a waiver wire video tomorrow, so I will probably be talking about him. But I would probably go pick him up. Then on the Steelers side, there wasn't really too much, honestly. It was pretty brutal from the Steelers' perspective. The only thing I will say is that Najee Harris did get a majority of the workload here with 5 receptions and 15 carries. That's 20 total touches, which is fine. I mean, he didn't really look all that great doing it, and he didn't have a touchdown, so he only had 11 points here. But I would say Najee's volume is enough to at least keep him as a relevant fantasy running back. Not going to be that dog that he was last year, I don't think, because he won't have as much receiving volume, but still going to be a fine fantasy option. Anyways, that is going to do it from me. If you guys did enjoy the video, please go down, leave a like, leave a comment. I am answering any fantasy football questions. Whether you have a buy low, sell high questions, trade questions, anything, please go down in the comments and ask me, and subscribe to the channel. Turn that notification bell on. If you did enjoy, it would mean the world to me. Anyways, that is going to do it for me. If you enjoyed, have a good day, a good night, and a good life.